Amid the dense forests and sprawling plains of East Prussia in August 1914, chaos erupted as two great armies collided in a whirlwind of movement, deception, and destruction. The Russian Second Army, confident and vast, surged into German territory, believing they could quickly crush their opponent. But lurking in the shadows were German commanders Hindenburg and Ludendorff, masterminding one of the most dramatic and devastating counterattacks of the entire war. What followed at the Battle of Tannenberg would become a military masterclass, a stunning reversal that obliterated a Russian army and gave Germany one of its most celebrated victories in World War I. Welcome to History in a Hurry. I'm Professor Malcolm Mazur, and in this episode we will learn about the Battle of Tannenberg during World War I. The Battle of Tannenberg, fought from August 26 to August 30th, 1914, was a critical engagement on the Eastern Front during the early weeks of World War I. As part of the Russian Empire's commitment to its alliance with France, Russia launched a two-pronged invasion of East Prussia. The First Army, commanded by General Paul von Rennenkampf, advanced from the northeast, while the Second Army, under General Alexander Samsonov, pushed in from the south. Their goal was to encircle and overwhelm the numerically inferior German Eighth Army, threatening Germany's eastern heartland and drawing German troops away from the Western Front. Initially, the Russian advance seemed promising. The Germans, caught between two advancing armies, were on the defensive. However, serious flaws in Russian coordination soon emerged. Communication between the Russian First and Second Armies was poor, and they failed to synchronize their movements. Crucially, the Russians transmitted orders over unencrypted radio, allowing the Germans to intercept and interpret their plans. This intelligence gave the Germans a decisive advantage. Enter General Paul von Hindenburg and his brilliant chief of staff, Erich Ludendorff. Hindenburg was called out of retirement and placed in command of the German Eighth Army. He and Ludendorff immediately assessed the situation and made a bold decision. Instead of falling back, they would strike Samsonov's Second Army before Rennenkampf could provide support. It was a risky move, but one that played directly into the hands of the German commanders. Using the German railway system to rapidly redeploy troops, the Eighth Army moved south to confront Samsonov. The Russians, unaware of the scale of the German repositioning, continued their slow, disorganized advance. On August 26, the Germans launched a surprise attack near the town of Tannenberg, encircling the Russian forces. Over the next several days, the German forces systematically tightened the noose around Samsonov's army. The fighting was intense and chaotic. Russian troops, lacking food, supplies, and communication, found themselves surrounded. Attempts to break out were met with withering machine gun fire and relentless German artillery. Entire divisions were cut off and captured. By August 30th, the battle was effectively over. Out of Samsonov's 150,000 men, around 50,000 were killed or wounded, and 92,000 were taken prisoner. The destruction was so complete and demoralizing that General Samsonov himself committed suicide in a nearby forest, unable to face the shame of the catastrophe. The German casualties were relatively light, approximately 13,000, and the victory at Tannenberg became a source of immense national pride. It showcased German military prowess and marked the beginning of the rise of Hindenburg and Ludendorff, who would become dominant figures in the German war effort. The battle also had significant strategic implications. It secured East Prussia, freed up German forces to focus on the Western Front, and demonstrated the effectiveness of modern tactics, intelligence, and mobility in a large-scale conflict. Yet, despite its tactical brilliance, Tannenberg didn't deliver a knockout blow to Russia. The Russian First Army, though delayed, remained intact, and the Eastern Front would remain active and brutal for years to come. Still, The psychological blow to Russia was massive. The defeat exposed the weaknesses of the Russian command structure and logistics, and it sowed seeds of doubt that would fester into revolution by 1917. In historical memory, the Battle of Tannenberg stands out as one of the most decisive and dramatic victories of World War I. It was a rare example of a perfectly executed encirclement, showcasing how planning, speed, and intelligence could overcome even a numerically superior enemy. The victory bolstered German morale during the grim early months of the war and became part of the mythos of Hindenburg's leadership, immortalized in propaganda and legend. Though overshadowed in Western narratives by battles like the Marne or the Somme, Tannenberg remains a landmark moment in military history, a textbook example of how strategy and audacity can rewrite the odds and shift the tides of war. Thanks for racing through history with us on History in a Hurry. If you enjoyed today's quick dive into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a fast-paced trip through time. Please reply in the comments with ideas for our next history lesson. See you in the next one.